Maya Rodriguez was 28 years old when she became the most dangerous human alive. She did not know this fact yet. Neither did anyone else. But deep inside the Terra Defense Academy, computers were running numbers that would have scared the alien instructors if they had seen them. Maya stood in the training room, sweat dripping from her face. Around her, 17 broken training robots lay in pieces. She had been fighting them for 30 minutes. The test was supposed to last 2 hours. Most cadets barely survived 15 minutes. "Time," called out Captain Drake Mitchell from the observation deck. His voice echoed in the large metal room. Maya stopped moving and looked up at him. Her breathing was steady. She was not even tired. "How did I do, sir?" Maya asked. She wiped the sweat from her forehead with the back of her hand. Captain Mitchell looked at his tablet. The numbers on the screen made no sense. According to the data, Maya had moved faster than any human on record. She had predicted the robots' attacks before they made them. She had fought like she could see the future. "You broke another record," Captain Mitchell said. He tried to keep his voice calm. 17 records, actually. Maya smiled. She had been breaking records since she arrived at the academy 3 years ago. At first, the other cadets had been jealous. Now they just stayed out of her way. Even the alien students watched her with careful eyes. The Terra Defense Academy was not just for humans. When Earth joined the Galactic Defense Coalition 15 years ago, the Academy opened its doors to students from many worlds. The Zentari came with their crystal skin that could stop bullets. The Vex High could read minds and talk without speaking. The Corvin could make things float in the air just by thinking about it. But Maya could beat them all. In the Academy cafeteria that evening, Maya sat alone. She picked at her food while reading tactical reports on her tablet. The other human cadets sat at tables nearby, talking quietly among themselves. They respected Maya, but they also feared her a little. She was too good at everything. "Mind if I sit?" asked a voice. Maya looked up to see Jake Coleman, one of the few cadets who still tried to be friendly with her. He was a year younger and specialized in ship engineering. "Sure," Maya said. She moved her tablet aside to make room. Jake sat down with his dinner tray. "Heard you set more records today." Maya nodded. "The combat simulation was easier than I expected." "Easier?" Jake laughed, but there was no humor in it. "Maya, you just beat 17 military robots designed to test elite soldiers. Most humans can't even damage one of them." Maya looked at Jake with curious eyes. "What are you trying to say?" Jake leaned closer and lowered his voice. "The alien instructors are talking about you. I heard Instructor Kethsale telling another Zentari that humans shouldn't be able to do what you do. They're worried." "Worried about what?" "About how fast humans learn, about how good we are at war." Jake pushed food around on his plate. "Maya, what if we're too good at this? What if the other species start to see us as a threat instead of allies?" Maya had never thought about this before. She had always focused on being the best soldier she could be. She wanted to protect Earth and her new alien friends. The idea that her skills might scare people had never crossed her mind. "I'm just doing my job," Maya said quietly. The next morning, Maya received new orders. She was to report to Commander Lisa Park in the classified section of the Academy. Maya had never been to that part of the building before. She needed special clearance just to enter the elevator. Commander Park was waiting for her in a small office with no windows. The walls were covered with star charts and tactical displays. Park was in her 40s, with gray hair and tired eyes. She had been fighting space pirates and hostile aliens since before Maya was born. "Sit down, Lieutenant Rodriguez," Commander Park said. Maya noticed she used her full rank, which was unusual for a training environment. "Yes, ma'am." "Commander." Park activated a privacy screen that would block all electronic surveillance. The room suddenly felt very quiet and isolated. "Maya, I'm going to tell you something that is classified at the highest levels, Park began. The Coalition High Command has been watching your progress very carefully. Your test scores, your combat results, your tactical thinking, everything about your performance is being studied by military leaders from 7 different species. Maya felt a cold sensation in her stomach. Am I in trouble, ma'am? No, you're not in trouble. But you are being offered an opportunity that has never been given to a human before. Park touched her tablet, and a holographic display appeared between them. Project Nexus. It's a special training program designed to create the ultimate space warfare specialist. The hologram showed a space station that Maya had never seen before. It was massive, with training facilities that looked more advanced than anything at the Terra Defense Academy. Only 12 beings in galactic history have been selected for Project Nexus, Park continued. 11 of them were from species that had been fighting in space for thousands of years. You would be the first human. Maya stared at the hologram. What would I have to do? Push your abilities beyond what anyone thought possible. Learn to interface directly with Starship computer systems. Train your mind to think in ways that normal biology doesn't allow. Park's voice became serious. Maya, this program will change. The other 11 candidates came out different than when they went in. Stronger, faster, smarter, but also more distant from their own people. What happened to them? They became legends. The greatest military minds their species ever produced, but they also became isolated. When you can think faster than everyone around you, when you can see patterns that others can't, it becomes hard to relate to normal people. Maya thought about Jake's words from the night before. She was already becoming isolated from her fellow humans. Project Nexus might make that worse, but it would also make her a better protector for Earth. When do I start? Maya asked. Commander Park smiled, but it was a sad smile. Transport leaves tomorrow morning. Maya, once you begin this program, there's no going back. You need to understand that. I understand, ma'am, but Maya did not really understand. She could not have known that Project Nexus would show her things about herself and about humanity that would terrify the galaxy's oldest civilizations. She could not have known that her human mind, with its chaotic creativity and unpredictable adaptability, would prove more dangerous than any weapon ever created. 3 months later, Maya Rodriguez would vanish without a trace, leaving behind only questions and fear. But that night, she was still just a young woman who wanted to serve her planet and protect the people she cared about. She packed her few belongings and tried to sleep, unaware that she was about to become something that the universe had never seen before. Captain Drake Mitchell woke up at 3 in the morning to an emergency call. His communicator was flashing red, which meant something very bad had happened. He rolled out of bed and pressed the answer button. Mitchell here. Captain, we have a problem, said the voice of Security Chief Ryan Burke. Maya Rodriguez is missing. Mitchell felt his blood turn cold. What do you mean missing? She left her quarters at 0300 hours. Security cameras show her walking through the corridors, but then the footage cuts out in several places. She's gone, sir. Just vanished. Mitchell threw on his uniform and ran to the security center. Chief Burke was waiting for him with a tablet full of data that made no sense. Maya had walked past 17 different security checkpoints without using her access cards. The metal detectors had not registered her presence. It was like she had become invisible to all their systems. How is this possible? Mitchell asked as he watched the security footage. Maya appeared normal in the first few clips, walking with purpose but not running. Then the cameras started malfunctioning one by one as she passed them. We don't know, sir, Burke replied. The technical team says the cameras weren't broken or hacked. They just stopped working when she got near them. Mitchell studied Maya's face in the last clear image they had. She looked calm and focused, like she was going somewhere important. There was something different about her eyes, though. They seemed to glow with a faint light that the cameras barely picked up. "Send word to Coalition Command immediately," Mitchell ordered. "And get me Agent Alex Turner. If anyone can find her, he can." Agent Turner arrived 3 hours later with his partner, a Zentari tracker named Kethver. Turner was a thin man in his 40s with sharp eyes that missed nothing. Kethver looked like a walking crystal sculpture, his transparent skin reflecting light in strange patterns. "Tell me everything," Turner said as they met in Mitchell's office. Mitchell explained about Project Nexus and Maya's training. He showed them her test scores and combat records. Turner listened without speaking, but his expression grew more concerned with each detail. "She was different when she came back from the training station," Mitchell said. "Stronger, faster, but also more distant. She would stare at empty space like she was seeing things that weren't there." Kethver spoke in his musical crystal voice. "My people have legends about beings who can see between dimensions. We thought they were just stories." "What kind of stories?" Turner asked. "Ancient warriors who could predict the future and move through space without ships. They were said to be blessed by the precursors, the first civilization in our galaxy." Kethver's crystal face flickered with different colors. "But those are just myths." Turner made notes on his tablet. "Let's focus on facts. Where would Maya go? What was important to her?" Mitchell thought about this. Maya had always been focused on protecting people. She cared about Earth and the Coalition, but she also worried about threats that others couldn't see. She talked about patterns, Mitchell remembered. She said she could see connections between events that seemed unrelated. Maybe she saw something coming. For 2 weeks, Turner and Kethver found nothing. Maya had simply disappeared without leaving any trace. Then the reports started coming in. The first incident happened near the Outer Rim territories. A pirate fleet that had been terrorizing trade ships for months was found drifting in space. All 12 vessels were disabled, their crews either dead or in shock. The few survivors could only mumble about a ghost that moved through their ships. Like death itself, Captain Sandra Lee of the merchant vessel Northern Star was the first person to give a clear report. Her ship had been attacked by the same pirates when a figure in unmarked battle armor had appeared on her bridge. "She just materialized out of nowhere," Lee told Turner over a video call. "One second the bridge was empty, the next second she was standing there. She told me to prepare for immediate departure, and then she was gone." "Did you see her face?" Turner asked. "The helmet was dark, but I heard her voice. It sounded like a young woman, very calm. She moved like a dancer, but I've never seen anyone move that fast." Lee's ship sensors had recorded the battle. Turner watched the footage with growing amazement. The mysterious figure had disabled 12 pirate ships in less than 10 minutes. She moved between the enemy vessels without using any visible transportation. One moment she was on one ship, the next moment she was somewhere else entirely. More reports followed. A slave trading operation was shut down overnight, with all the criminals found unconscious and the slaves freed. A group of smugglers running illegal weapons was captured and left tied up at a coalition outpost. In each case, witnesses described the same figure moving with impossible speed and appearing from nowhere. Turner showed the reports to Captain Mitchell. "It's her, isn't it?" Mitchell nodded. He recognized Maya's tactical style in every operation. She always focused on protecting innocents and stopping criminals with minimal casualties. But the methods were beyond anything a normal human could do. "She's not just missing," Mitchell said quietly. "She's become something else." The breakthrough came when Turner received a call from Dr. Helen Chang, a scientist studying ancient ruins on the planet where Project Nexus was located. Chang had been working in the lower levels of the research facility when she made a discovery that changed everything. "There's a chamber down here," Chang explained over the communicator. "It's precursor technology, millions of years old. The facility was built on top of it, but no one knew it was active. Turner felt pieces of a puzzle clicking together in his mind. What does the chamber do? We're not sure yet, but the energy readings are incredible. And there's something else. We found genetic traces in the chamber, human genetic material. Maya was there. More than that. The chamber responds to human DNA in ways it doesn't respond to other species. It's like it was waiting for us. Turner ended the call and looked at the star charts on Mitchell's wall. Maya was out there somewhere, no longer fully human but still protecting people. She had found something in that ancient chamber, something that had changed her into a guardian angel watching over the galaxy. We need to find her, Turner said. Not to arrest her, but to understand what she's become. Mitchell agreed, but deep down he wondered if they would even recognize Maya when they found her. The woman who had vanished from her quarters was becoming a legend, a protector who existed between the real world and something far beyond human understanding, in the depths of space. Maya Rodriguez continued her silent war against the forces that threatened innocent lives. She could feel Turner and the others searching for her, but she had work to do. The patterns she could now see showed darker threats coming, enemies that would make pirates and smugglers look like children playing with toys. She had to be ready. Dr. Helen Chang stood in the ancient chamber deep beneath the Project Nexus facility. The walls glowed with soft blue light that hurt her eyes if she looked directly at it. Strange symbols covered every surface, writing from a civilization that had died before humans learned to make fire. Agent Turner and Captain Mitchell had arrived that morning to see the discovery for themselves. Turner walked around the chamber with his scanner, recording everything. The device made worried beeping sounds that got faster as he moved closer to the center of the room. The energy readings are off the charts, Turner said. His voice echoed strangely in the circular space. This technology is more advanced than anything the Coalition has ever seen. Captain Mitchell touched one of the walls. The symbols under. His hand began to glow brighter, responding to his presence. Maya was down here during her training? Dr. Chang nodded. The construction reports show that the chamber was discovered 3 months ago, right when Maya started Project Nexus. Facility director decided to keep it secret while they studied it. But Maya found it anyway, Turner said. It was not a question. The genetic traces we found suggest she spent a lot of time here. Days, maybe weeks. Chang pointed to a raised platform in the center of the chamber. That's where we found the strongest concentration of human DNA. Mitchell walked to the platform. As soon as he stepped on it, the entire chamber came alive. Lights raced along the walls in complex patterns. The air itself seemed to vibrate with hidden energy. Then, without warning, images began to appear. In the space around them, the 3 humans watched in amazement as holographic scenes played out before their eyes. They saw the history of the precursors, a race of beings who had ruled the galaxy millions of years ago. The precursors had been explorers and builders, creating wonders that spanned entire star systems. But then something had changed. The images showed the precursors making contact with something from outside the galaxy, something dark and hungry that consumed entire worlds. The precursors had fought this threat for thousands of years before finally finding a way to stop it. They created guardians, Dr. Chang whispered as she watched the images. Beings who could exist in multiple dimensions at once, who could see threats before they arrived. The hologram showed precursor scientists working with volunteers from their own species. The process changed these volunteers into something more than living creatures. They became bridges between the physical world and the spaces that existed between dimensions. But it didn't work, Turner observed. The images showed the precursor guardians slowly losing their connection to normal reality. They became too different from their own people, too isolated by their enhanced abilities. Eventually, they faded away into the spaces between worlds, leaving the precursors defenseless. That's why they built this chamber, Mitchell realized. They were waiting for another species to try the same process. The hologram changed to show the chamber itself being constructed. The precursor scientists programmed it to wait, to search, for a species that might succeed where they had failed. They needed beings who were adaptable, unpredictable, and strong enough to handle the transformation without losing themselves completely. They were waiting for humans, Chang said softly. Turner's scanner began beeping frantically. He looked at the display and felt his heart skip a beat. Someone's coming. The energy signature is massive. The chamber's lights dimmed, and a figure began to materialize on the central platform. At first it was just a shadow, but slowly it became more solid. Maya Rodriguez stepped out of empty air as if she had been there all along. But this was not the Maya that Mitchell remembered. She was taller now, and her skin had a faint glow that matched the chamber walls. Her eyes were completely different, filled with swirling patterns that seemed to show glimpses of distant galaxies. When she moved, reality bent slightly around. "Hello, Captain," Maya said. Her voice was the same, but it carried harmonics that human ears were not meant to hear. "I knew you would find this place eventually." Mitchell stepped forward carefully. "Maya, what happened to you?" Maya smiled, and for a moment she looked almost human again. "I became what I needed to be, what humanity needed me to be." She gestured to the walls around them. The precursors failed because they tried to make their guardians perfect, but perfection is static. It doesn't grow or change. Humans are different. We're chaotic, unpredictable. That chaos is what makes us strong. Turner kept his scanner running, trying to understand what Maya had become. The readings showed that she existed in at least 7 dimensions simultaneously. Parts of her were in normal space, but other parts extended into realms that had no names. "Maya, we've been tracking your activities," Turner said. "The pirates, the smugglers. Why are you doing this?" "Because I can see the patterns now," Maya replied. She raised her hand, and images appeared in the air around them. Every crime that goes unpunished creates ripples. Every evil that grows unchecked makes the galaxy weaker. I stop the small problems so they don't become big ones. The images showed crime networks and terrorist cells that Maya had destroyed. But they also showed something else, something that made Mitchell's blood run cold. Dark shapes moving between the stars, getting closer to the galaxy with each passing day. "The Devourers are coming," Maya continued. "The same threat that destroyed the precursors. They've been moving between galaxies for millions of years, consuming everything in their path. They'll be here soon." Chang stepped closer to the images. "How soon?" "Months, maybe less. The Coalition fleet won't be able to stop them. Normal weapons don't work against beings that exist partially outside our reality." Maya looked directly at Mitchell. "That's why I had to change. Someone needs to be ready to fight them." Mitchell felt a deep sadness as he realized what Maya was telling them. "You can never come back, can you?" "To being human, I mean." Maya's expression grew soft and sad. "The transformation is still happening. Every day I become more connected to the spaces between dimensions and less connected to normal reality. Soon I won't be able to talk to you like this at all." "Is there anything we can do to help?" Turner asked. "Prepare the Coalition for what's coming. Tell them that the old ways of fighting won't work. They'll need to think differently, fight differently." Maya began to fade as she spoke. "And tell them that they still have a guardian watching over them. I may not be human anymore, but I remember what it was like to be one." The chamber fell silent as Maya disappeared completely. The 3 humans stood alone with the glowing precursor symbols and the terrible knowledge of what was approaching their galaxy. Captain Mitchell looked at the empty platform where Maya had stood. His best student had become something beyond human. Understanding. A protector who would sacrifice everything to keep the galaxy safe. But the cost of that protection was higher than anyone had imagined. The alarm started screaming across every coalition world at the same time. Long-range sensors had detected something that made experienced military officers go pale with fear. Ships were approaching from the space between galaxies, vessels so large they blocked out entire star fields. Captain Mitchell stood on the bridge of his ship, the Defiant, watching the sensor readings with growing horror. The enemy fleet was still weeks away, but already their presence was affecting reality itself. Stars were going dark as the alien ships passed near them. Planets were simply vanishing from existence. "How many ships are there?" asked Commander Jake Coleman, who had been promoted after graduating from the academy. "The computers can't count them all," Mitchell replied. His voice was steady, but his hands were shaking. "They're too big, and they exist in too many dimensions at once." Admiral Susan Carter's face appeared on the main screen. She was broadcasting from Coalition Command, trying to coordinate the defense of 7 different species across thousands of worlds. Behind her, Mitchell could see alien commanders arguing in languages he didn't understand. "All ships are to report to the outer defense line," Admiral Carter announced. "We're assembling the largest fleet in galactic history. Every available vessel from every coalition world." Mitchell looked at the tactical display. Even with their combined fleets, they were outnumbered by thousands to 1. The enemy ships were not just larger than anything they had ever seen. They were made of materials that their sensors couldn't even identify. "Sir," called out Lieutenant Ben Walsh from the communications station, "we're receiving a transmission. It's coming from the edge of the galaxy. Put it through." Maya's voice filled the bridge, but it sounded different now. There were layers to it, harmonics that seemed to come from multiple dimensions at once. When she spoke, the air around them shimmered with energy. "Captain Mitchell, I need you to bring your ship to coordinates I'm transmitting now. Come alone." Mitchell looked at the coordinates on his screen. They were at the very edge of known space, in a region where no ships normally traveled. "Maya, what's out there?" "A weapon. Something the precursors built as a last resort." Her voice faded in and out, like a radio signal from far away. "But it needs a human crew to operate it. It won't respond to artificial intelligence or alien biology." Jake stepped forward. "Captain, this could be a trap." Mitchell shook his head. "Not from Maya. She's still trying to protect us, even if she's not human anymore." The Defiant left the main fleet and traveled for 3 days to reach the coordinates. What they found waiting for them defied all logic. It was a ship, but it was built from the same glowing material as the precursor chamber. The vessel seemed to exist in several dimensions at once, shifting and changing as they watched. Maya appeared on their bridge without warning. She was even less human than before, her body flickering between solid and transparent. Her eyes now showed glimpses of entire galaxies, and when she moved, space itself bent around her. "You came," she said to Mitchell. Relief was clear in her voice. "Of course we came. What is this thing?" "The Nexus ship. The precursors built it to fight the Devourers, but they never got the chance to use it." Maya gestured toward the alien vessel. "It's designed to interface with a consciousness that exists in multiple dimensions." "That's me now." Mitchell felt a cold understanding settle in his stomach. "You want us to help you pilot it. I can control the ship's higher functions, but I need human minds to handle the basic operations. The chaos and unpredictability of human thought is what makes the ship work." Maya's form flickered, becoming almost invisible. "I don't have much time left in this dimension. The transformation is accelerating." The crew of the Defiant transferred to the Nexus ship. The interior was like nothing they had ever seen, with corridors that seemed to extend in directions that shouldn't exist. Control panels responded to their thoughts rather than their touches. The ship's computer spoke in Maya's voice, but multiplied across dozens of frequencies. "The Devourers will arrive in 6 hours," Maya announced as her consciousness merged with the ship's systems. Their main fleet consists of entities that consume the basic forces that hold reality together. They don't just destroy planets and stars, they unmake them from existence. Mitchell took his position, what seemed to be the command chair. Around him, his crew struggled to understand controls that operated according to principles beyond normal physics. Jake was at the engineering station, his hands moving over panels that showed impossible readings. How do we fight something like that? Jake asked. Maya's voice came from everywhere at once now. By being human. By being unpredictable and chaotic and refusing to give up even when logic says we should. The Devourer fleet emerged from the space between dimensions like a plague of living darkness. Their ships were not built so much as grown, massive organisms that fed on the energy that made stars shine. As they approached the galaxy's edge, entire solar systems began to fade and die. The Coalition fleet engaged them first, thousands of ships firing every weapon they had. The attacks did nothing. The Devourers absorbed the energy and grew stronger, their dark forms expanding as they consumed the light and heat from the weapons' fire. Now, Maya whispered across the ship's communication system. The Nexus ship activated, and reality exploded around them. Mitchell felt his consciousness expand beyond his body, connecting with Maya's enhanced awareness and the ship's impossible systems. He could see the battle from every angle at once, could feel the fear of every Coalition pilot, as their weapons failed to stop the enemy, but he could also see something else. Patterns in the chaos, weak points in the Devourer formation that only a human mind could recognize. The aliens were ancient and powerful, but they thought in straight lines. They couldn't adapt to the random chaotic strategies that humans specialized in. Jake, reroute power to the reality disruptors, Mitchell ordered, somehow knowing exactly what that meant. Which ones? Jake replied, his hands dancing over controls that rewrote the laws of physics. All of them, at random intervals. Don't follow any pattern. The Nexus ship struck at the Devourer fleet with weapons that attacked the fundamental forces holding their ships together. But instead of following logical targeting priorities, Mitchell directed the attacks randomly, chaotically, in ways that made no strategic sense. It worked. The Devourers couldn't predict or counter attacks that followed no pattern. Their ancient intelligence, honed over millions of years, was designed to fight logical opponents. They had never encountered an enemy that embraced chaos as a weapon. Battle lasted 17 hours. Mitchell lost track of time as his consciousness flowed between the ship's systems and Maya's expanded awareness. He could feel her slipping further away from humanity with each passing moment, becoming something that existed more in the spaces between dimensions than in normal reality. In the end, the Devourer fleet was not destroyed, but scattered, sent fleeing back to the darkness between galaxies. The Coalition forces cheered their victory, but Mitchell knew the real cost. Maya was gone. Not dead, but transformed beyond any possibility of return. Her consciousness now spanned light years, existing as a guardian presence that watched over the galaxy from the edges of reality. The Nexus ship faded back into its interdimensional hiding place, taking Maya with it. But before she disappeared completely, her voice reached Mitchell one last time. Thank you for reminding me what it was like to be human. Years later, Coalition ships traveling the outer systems would sometimes report strange phenomena. Sensors would pick up energy signatures at the edge of detection, and pilots would swear they heard a woman's voice wishing them safe travels. Maya Rodriguez had been trained for space war, and then she had vanished. But she had become something greater than any soldier could be. She had become hope itself, eternal and watching, making sure that the people she had once been part of could continue to reach for the stars without fear. The galaxy was safe, protected by a guardian who remembered what it meant to be human.